Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're doing something truly fascinating. We are completely bridging the gap between the indigenous healer's rattle and the modern neuroscientist's fMRI machine. We're going to demystify the esoteric practices of spirit hacking, but we're translating them directly into the rigorous structural languages of quantum physics, human biology, and psychotherapy. For thousands of years, shamans have essentially operated as humanity's very first psychotherapists. And yeah, their methods might sound mystical, but this isn't just theory. This is about optimizing your own biological hardware. Because when you actually look under the hood, these ancient practices map flawlessly onto modern clinical and scientific realities.
Let's just dive right in with this brilliant quote from Max Planck, the founding father of quantum theory. He stated that all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a conscious and intelligent, non-visible living energy force, which he called the matrix mind. Now, in physics terms, beneath the atoms and quarks that make up our world, everything is fundamentally just interacting fields of probability. And what's wild is that shamans have intuitively navigated these exact unseen subatomic realms for millennia. They were essentially manipulating probability fields long before we had the sophisticated math to prove those fields even existed.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. What is spirit hacking? 2. Calibrating internal navigation. 3. Depossession and complexes. 4. Dancing with the shadow. 5. Clearing urban energy. And 6. Multidimensional synthesis.
Okay, Section 1. What is spirit hacking? Demystifying the esoteric.
We really need to establish a shared vocabulary so we can translate these ancient frameworks into modern clinical terms. Think of this as our Rosetta Stone. When a shaman treats what they call soul loss, a clinical psychotherapist is treating repressed trauma. You know, that state where your amygdala has essentially firewalled a memory to protect your psyche. An underworld spirit? That is precisely what we call a Jungian complex, a splintered autonomous subpersonality operating deep in your subconscious. And an altered state or trance is exactly what Dr. Stanislav Grof calls a holotropic state. We can literally measure this on an EEG as a profound shift from waking beta brainwaves down into highly receptive theta or delta frequencies.
Now, to understand how spirit hacking actually works on a physical level, we have to move past the classical Newtonian model of the universe. Newtonian physics sees matter as fixed, predictable, solid blocks. But the quantum model reveals that matter is really a vibrating system of conscious energy. And to get incredibly specific about the biology here, your human fascial system is made of collagen, which literally operates as a semiconductor network throughout your entire body. We are, quite literally, biological liquid crystals capable of conducting energy and information. It's a system where the light of consciousness interacts with and actively creates physical reality.
Moving on to Section 2, Calibrating Internal Navigation, the Biology of Intuition.
Let's see how this quantum perspective builds our first biohack. You can actually test this out right now to establish a baseline connection with your own sensorium. First, you ground yourself with deep, diaphragmatic breaths. This physically stimulates your vagus nerve, which directly shifts your autonomic nervous system out of sympathetic fight or flight and into parasympathetic rest and digest. Then, you literally say out loud, "Body, show me yes." You just scan your body for somatic signals. Maybe it's a tingling, maybe a shift in your heart rate, and here is the crucial part. You speak that location and feeling aloud. Why do we have to speak it aloud? Well, the neurology here is amazing. Anatomically, your sensory organs send raw somatic data via the spinal thalamic tract straight to the thalamus. That's your feed-forward loop. But by vocalizing the sensation, you force your prefrontal cortex, your center for executive function, to immediately engage with that raw data. You are effectively altering the neurochemical feedback loop, bridging the physical tissue of your body with your energetic consciousness to deeply, profoundly alter your conscious perception of that sensation.
All right, Section 3, the Mechanics of Depossession, Taking Back the Mind.
I know, dispossession sounds straight out of a horror movie, right? But in practice, it's a deeply structured psychotherapeutic process for taking back your mind from intrusive thoughts. Let's break down the mechanics. Whether you call them underworld spirits or Jungian complexes, we're really talking about unintegrated trauma. In physics, destructive interference happens when two out-of-phase waves cancel or distort each other. Psychologically, unintegrated trauma holds a very specific, stagnant neural frequency. Jungian complexes operate autonomously. They attach to this trauma frequency and hijack your conscious baseline, creating severe emotional and biological static in your system. To clear this interference, this hack requires you to physically stand up and cross your arms.
Crossing your arms physically establishes a boundary via bilateral stimulation, which actively synchronizes the right and left hemispheres of your brain. Then you interrogate the intrusive thought. You're forcing that subconscious complex into conscious dialogue. Next, you clap your hands 5 times. That sharp acoustic sound disrupts the localized neurological holding patterns of the freeze response anchored in your sympathetic nervous system, allowing you to verbally send that fragmented energy away.
This is a brilliant illustration of the physics principle known as QIP, the quantum inseparability principle. According to QIP, particles exist in a state of superposition until they are observed. By aggressively interrogating that subconscious complex, you are forcing an observer effect. Your focused, conscious intent literally collapses the probability wave of that trauma. You are physically transmuting its energetic state and removing its static from your personal field.
Section 4. Dancing with the shadow, integrating the unconscious.
In clinical psychotherapy, this is an absolutely vital technique for psychological individuation and building emotional immunity. Society teaches us to treat the shadow as some evil, external entity, but in reality, and in strict Jungian psychoanalysis, the shadow is simply the repository of your unintegrated junkery. It's formed through psychological projection. Your ego literally exiles unacceptable traits, fears, and traumas deep into the subconscious simply because it hasn't yet taken responsibility for them with unconditional love.
To integrate this, we use what's called the morning shadow dance protocol. First, you ask your shadow a question out loud, then tune into your AVK pathways, your audio-visual and kinesthetic senses. Doing this effectively recruits multiple sensory cortices in your brain to process the answer. Then, by physically writing the answer down, you recruit the motor cortex. You're successfully taking a repressed, formless neuroelectrical impulse and solidifying it into physical, observable reality. Finally, you speak aloud, "Thank you, shadow. I love you."
Now, why do we respond with love rather than fear? Biologically speaking, responding with love literally prevents the amygdala from firing stress hormones like cortisol. Instead, it triggers a rush of oxytocin, which facilitates powerful neuroplasticity. You are quite literally allowing your brain to chemically prune outdated fear-based synaptic pathways and build highly reinforced new ones that are rooted in emotional intelligence. It is a biological rewiring.
Section 5. Clearing urban energy disturbances. Dissipating environmental static.
Look, our physical environments constantly bombard us with frequencies, and this hack is all about clearing the heavy, toxic energy of modern life. Traditional indigenous practices might use deep forest immersion or sacred plant medicines to profoundly shift brain states, but the modern city, it's a dense, chaotic soup of electromagnetic frequencies, or EMF, and harsh acoustic waves. Urban shamans have brilliantly adapted the underlying mechanics of those traditional tools, so we can specifically clear this modern environmental radiation from the human biofield.
If you ever feel an acute energy disturbance in your field, say a sudden wave of exhaustion or anxiety, try this. Hold your hands about 6 inches from your chest and clap aggressively in counterclockwise circles. You specifically want to target the head, heart, and throat. These aren't just mystical, spiritual centers. Anatomically, they perfectly correspond to massive bundles of the nervous system known as the cervical, cardiac, and pharyngeal nerve plexuses. You are directly targeting areas of immense neuroelectrical density.
And here is the incredible physics behind why this actually works. Because your fascia is a crystalline collagen matrix, it literally possesses a proven piezoelectric effect. That means the sharp mechanical impact of you clapping generates a measurable electrical voltage right in the tissue. This voltage spikes directly through your fascial network, literally shattering and depolarizing localized frequency blocks and stagnant neurological holding patterns in your body. It's like doing a hard reset on your nervous system.
Finally, Section 6, Achieving Multidimensional Synthesis, the Unified Self. This is the ultimate goal, the complete merging of physics, biology, and psychology. The human vessel is comprised of 4 distinct pillars: the mental, physical, emotional, and spirit bodies. And these are not just metaphors, guys. They are interlocking bioenergetic systems. The mental body, representing your neurochemistry, impacts the emotional body, representing hormonal regulation. And that directly dictates the health of the physical body, governing your immune response and cellular regeneration. They are all linked.
When you actively use these hacks to clear your energetic and psychological blockages, you turn on this multi-dimensional synthesis.
When your central nervous system, representing the mind, and your enteric nervous system, representing the gut and emotions, are cleared of static, your body's innate allostatic load drops significantly. This creates a pristine, unimpeded neural and energetic pathway. It establishes the absolute physiological baseline required for spontaneous, holistic healing right down to the cellular level.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought to provoke your own self-exploration. How much unintegrated trauma, how many Jungian complexes and localized frequency blockages are creating energetic static in your biological spacesuit right now? What hidden energy is just waiting for you to step up, observe it, and collapse its wave function? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today on The Explainer. Now go out there and recalibrate your system.